Making a Murderer, the Netflix docuseries has thrown Manitowoc's most controversial convicted killer back into the spotlight.
Making a Murderer mania has dominated the web, local and national news, and even triggered protests, one scheduled this morning. And a special Dateline episode has new interviews, footage, and a fresh look at the case. Andrea from NBC News joins us now for a preview of what our viewers will see tonight. Andrea, first of all, thanks so much for getting up early for us. We really appreciate it.
Of course, I wanted to do this, so thank you for having me.
So let's talk about the Dateline piece that's airing tonight. It's important to note that your piece is completely different than what people may have seen in Making a Murderer.
Yeah, well, we include a lot of things that are not in the documentary. So we have an interview with Ken Kratz. We look at Penny Burnson, who was the original victim from the first crime that Steven Avery was wrongfully convicted in. And we talked to Jerry Buting, the defense attorney. We talked to Steven Avery's relatives. So we have a lot of new stuff in there. We also talked to a phlebotomist who really deconstructs that aha moment with the blood vial. You know, was Steven Avery framed or was he not framed? He adds some new insight into that as well.
In terms of your interview with Ken Kratz, who was the prosecutor in the case, I'm curious what you learned from him, because he hasn't done a lot of local, he really hasn't talked about it, and then he didn't really participate in the Netflix documentary as well.
Yeah, Ken Kratz, surprising admission, calls himself a jerk in the hour. And I was telling you earlier that I have a little cameo in the documentary myself where I did a story on his sexting scandal from back in the day, and I'm interviewing him and I said, "Did you know that was me doing that story in the documentary?" And he said no, and he was a little surprised, but he said, you know, I'm a different person now. I look back at the bravado and the narcissism, and I'm a changed man. So, you know, the viewers will be the judge, you know, if you think he's changed or not.
But still insists that Steven Avery is guilty.
Absolutely. He said that the only regret that he has is giving that gruesome press conference, but he says he doesn't regret so much the content of it. He stands by that. He regrets what it did to the family. He felt like putting those details out there in a press conference wasn't appropriate. Now he thinks that. But he doesn't, it's not about what was in it. So that's his only regret about that, is the family.
The Making the Murder docuseries, the biggest criticism, if you will, that has come out of it is that it is one-sided. When people watch the Dateline piece tonight, do you feel like they'll come away with a more well-rounded picture of what that case was really all about?
100%. Yes. I mean, we all know that now that it's come out that the documentary left some things out, and that's their right to do that if they want it. I'm not criticizing them for that, but what we did was we put that stuff in. So anything that wasn't in there, you know, there's a lot of things that we include. And so I feel like you will get that fuller picture, and you'll be able to walk away with, you know, maybe a new opinion. My opinion on this changes almost on a daily basis. Every time I talk to someone new, I have a new theory about what happened. So it's one of those stories that just makes you think on a micro level about the crime, and then on a macro level about, you know, the justice system and the legal system.
It's amazing how it's captivated the nation's attention, and we'll be looking forward to your Dateline piece tonight. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea. And the Dateline piece will air tonight at 9 o'clock right here on today's TMJ4. It's titled "The State of Wisconsin versus Steven Avery."
Over to Brian.